sweeper Zamat. And making sure everyone gets a touch early on. Sweeps it out to the right-hand side to involve as many players in the attack as he can. Babel, the young number 14, in for the injured Jürgen Kohler. Foul on Hessler. First free kick to Germany. And Hessler himself could take it. He has scored some terrific goals over the years from free kicks. This one looks a long way out, though. Ziegler, another possible candidate. Position more suited to the left-footed player. Well, it's becoming a recurring theme on Atkinson, the disappointment of the free kicks that we've seen so far in these championships.
They've been dreadful, and that goes in that category. I mean, they got all the big fellas up. They'd sent the big guys up from the back. They wanted to test the goalkeeper Karim very early, put the ball in the danger zone and attack it, and he's launched it right on top of the Stretford Road end.
Interestingly, Karim, the Chelsea goalkeeper, restored to the side today, not taking the goal kicks himself. Chesov left out of the Russian side following his poor display against Italy. He was at fault, certainly, for Italy's opening goal. Müller, scorer of one of the German goals against the Czech Republic.
That's one of their key moves, that is. Sammer sits behind the back two markers and then all of a sudden steps into play and frees everything. He gets so much play, particularly through Moller and Sammer.
German Footballer of the Year, Matthias Sammer, plays for the champions Borussia Dortmund and was the first from the old East Germany to play for the new unified team. Good skill by Hessler. Reuter trying to get the cross in, a tremendous effort, and that was a brilliant save from Karim. Müller can't believe it.
Oh, some great football there, and great work on the right between Berthold and Hassler. Quality ball in. Müller doing what he will do so many times, arrives in, watch this Reuter, a great ball in. Beautiful ball in. Should have scored. Good save, should have scored. A great arrival, some great football.
First corner to Germany. They could have been celebrating the first goal. The Chelsea goalkeeper, Dimitri Karin, has already justified his inclusion in the side. Zamat starts another attack for the Germans, who are the giants, of course, of world football. They've won the World Cup 3 times. The European Championship twice, the only nation to do so. Helmer for them. Zamat again. Reuter on the right. Taking on Zimbala, and again getting in a testing cross, this time towards Bierhoff on the far post. And he's, Reuter that is, has hit two beautiful crosses from the right in the last couple of minutes.
Did it in the previous game against Czechoslovakia, made breaks down the right in exactly the same area where he's just produced that ball from. And he does overhit them, he hits them very, very deep. And I think Bierhoff particularly has got to pull away even further on the far post.
Ziege slices the ball out of play, and Kanchelskis, who hasn't seen the ball at his feet yet, takes the early throw. Excellent play. And they keep it off. But not the final ball, I'm afraid. They took a deflection off the German player en route, and it might have been a corner. In fact, the linesman has signalled corner. Lovely turn by Zimbala. When he pulled the ball back, the shot by Kolivanov almost finding the target.
Sheer brilliance. Caught them well napping there, the Russians. Played a little short one. He expected it, a little knock back to Kolivanov. Zimbala turned brilliantly.
Zimbalar's corner. Kovtun the target this time, far post, and Kupko with the punch clear. Hessler forced to defend.
That's something I thought about when you saw the Germans appear in the first opening game they played in. They didn't produce in America as much as they should have done, and it seems as if they've come over with an even fresh determination to be successful.
Foul there by Reuter on Mostovoy has given the Russians a free kick in a very good position. Onopko and Kovtun, two of the taller players in the side, have come forward. The Germans will have to concentrate hard here. Whipped into the near post, that was the intention anyway, but the two players in the German wall did well. Zimbalar's shot! Oh! Kolivanov missing the rebound after Zimbalar's excellent shot had struck the post, and Germany ride their luck then.
Well, we should be 1-1, shouldn't we? The chance Muller at that end, and certainly the chance Kolivanov had there. He looked as if he was claiming a bit of a push as he went in on the rebound header. I'm not too sure that wasn't a little bit of an excuse for a very good chance missed. The great effort from Zimbalar. The ball came out to him, left-footed shot and cannoned off the post.
Foul there on Hessler by Kovtun. And Kolivanov so close to giving the Russians the lead. Plays his league football in Italy, incidentally. Kolivanov or Fodger. Muller's free kick. Almere got forward, but the Russian defence did its job. Ziga with a long throw and almost finding the head of Bierhoff, and Russia forced to concede the corner then. And this is the moment when that deflected effort from Zimbalar completely beat Kupka. Kolivanov should have done. Good defending again. Müller keeps possession for the Germans. Now Reuter. Babel with the header. And the young central defender, who's never scored for his country, came close then.
Good deep cross this from Stefan Reuter. Babel's come round the back a bit. Good firm header down. Keeper had it covered.
Kanchelskis. Poor ball by Kaklov, one back by Hessler. Hales. Ziga. Klinsmann's peeled away to the far post. That was the intention to kick him out, but Kanchelskis certainly learned how to defend in his years in the English game.
He's also played a lot of games for Russia, you know, as an orthodox wing-back. I remember seeing him in an early tournament in Sweden where they actually used him in that position, and there was a suggestion they would do so for this tournament.
10 minutes gone, no goals at Old Trafford, but we could easily have had one for both teams. Ziga's long throw toward Bierhoff, touched away to Hessler. Klinsmann gets his first shot with a vengeance. Turned brilliantly as he always does, but didn't quite connect properly this time.
Tempo's good, Alan, isn't it? Tempo of the game's excellent. And it's about the third or fourth long throw that's gone into the danger zone. The defender, actually, Onopko, I think he was got the first touch, and as you say, Klinsmann can't quite get around the ball there.
Offside decision in Germany's favour here. Germans who've been in 6 World Cup finals, 4 European Championship finals, and always start any major competition as one of, if not the favourites. And certainly their opening display against the Czech Republic when they won 2-0, as impressive as anything we've seen so far in these championships. Palmer. Terrific turn there by Klinsmann, and he was fouled by Kovtun, who has a very poor disciplinary record, the number 5. We'll come back to that in a moment. And in fact, he's got another yellow card. Just to underline the point, it's his second caution in these championships, which means he'll miss their final game. And he has the worst disciplinary record in Russia, 5 red cards, and would you believe, 28 yellow cards over the last 4 seasons. Muller's free kick, not the best this time. Turned back in by Ziga, and the header by Kovtun. Dmitry Korin played in only half of the qualifiers. The coach couldn't decide between him and Cherchesov. Tetradze coming forward. Oh, lovely bit of skill. Radimov just took it a stride too far. Muller now for Germany. Klinsmann to his right, Bierhoff to the left. And Klinsmann returns the ball towards Muller. The Russian Paklov just got in his way. Ziga. Good-looking cross. Cut in with an unusual save, I think you'd say.
I would say it was an awful piece of goalkeeping. It was a super ball in from Ziga. He could quite conceivably have expected either Bierhoff or Klinsmann to have attacked that. I thought the goalkeeper was a little bit edgier, to say the least.
Anopko.
This is the fellow Russia really want to get on the ball and dominate, Anopko. They need him to organise the tempo of the game.
Paklov. Tetradze forward to Mostovoy. He lost his man brilliantly. Oh, good skill by Mostovoy. And still. Well, Kanchelskis was waiting for the cross, but it never came in early enough. In fact, I'm sure that was an attempt on goal. Muller breaking clear now for the Germans. And Simbala has it back for Russia. Certainly a moment earlier, if Kolivanov had seen Kanchelskis on the far post, he might have opted for the cross rather than the shot. Iltz. And Muller. Reuter. Simbala running into trouble in the end. Simbala. Defender, Babel slipped then, and was that a deliberate trip? The referee has seen it that way. Kolivanov going down. And Babel adjudged to have made a deliberate trip. It looked as though, from our distance anyway, initially they might have just collided. Let's see.
Looked to tangle in while they were in run. That's a nice through ball there. Kolivanov's gone, and you haven't seen the full picture there, but it looked to me more as if they tangled with each other, as opposed to he knocked him down.
Yes, that was my initial impression. And Babel, being one of the 6 German players who came into the game on a caution, will now have to miss the next match. And that's serious because he's taking the place of the injured Kola as it is. So they're going to be short of a central defender there for the final game against Italy. Here's Kanchelskis. Bertie Folks, the German manager, very critical of the English referee David Ellery, who certainly was over-officious in that opening match, booking 10 players in all, 6 of them from Germany. And the results of his strong line are now beginning to take an effect.
Yeah, but there was an awful lot of those, you know, Alan, the bookings they had in that first game that were unnecessary. I mean, they'd got the game won, and they were flying into tackles late in the game. There was at least a couple of players got booked here. through that reason when it was totally unnecessary.
Here's Reuter. And another good cross. Klinsmann heads it back in, behind Bierhoff.
You see, there's the depth he gets on his cross from that right-hand side. He doesn't seem to put them either near post or just inside the goal area. He seems to overhit everything, I would guess deliberately. It's important that either one of the German strikers pulls wide, or they get somebody coming in from midfield and in that back area.
Tetradze forward to Mostovoy. Zimbala. This guy's a terrific little player.
He's a good runner with the ball, isn't he? Saw that with that night at Ewood Park, then he picks it up and runs at people brilliantly from that left-hand side.
Russia have a free kick. Foul on Kolivanov. It was a bold effort from that range, and I think Kovtun acknowledges that it was a little optimistic. Oleg Romantsev, who's been national coach for Russia for the last 2 years, also led Spartak Moscow to 3 successive league titles, and they impressed greatly in their Champions League matches last season, particularly against Blackburn Rovers. And several of their players in the Russian squad are here in these championships. Ball down the line, little Hessler, who shows his close control and skill. And Bierhoff's header! Excellent build-up by the Germans again.
There's some good work by Hessler where he floats all over the field, curls that one into the near post. Bierhoff just gets across the defender and can't get quite enough on it for a strike at goal.
Plays for Udinese in Italy. Didn't play, in fact, in any of the qualifiers, Bierhoff, and only won his first cap just before the championship started.
Yeah, we've seen quite a lot of him over the years. He was at Atlanta before that, and he played a lot in that Anglo-Italian thing. And quite honestly, he looks very much a typical English centre-forward.
There's Kaklov for the Russians, trying to slide it through to Kolivanov. The tackle on him on the edge of the box. A legal one, says the referee. Now Hessler. Klinsmann. Back it goes for Hessler. Kovtun, the defender, always favourite to get there, and did.
Yeah, good recovery. That's one position on the field Thomas Hessler probably doesn't want to be in. The leading man. Some good interplay between the 3 Germans that left Hessler, unfortunately, instead of... I bet Klinsmann would have liked to have been in that same position. But as you said, Kovtun, a great recovery tackle.
We'll see another long throw now from Ziga, the Bayern Munich player. Bierhoff jostling for a position on the near post. And I'm not sure whether it came off him or the defender, but Karin safely in control. And huge kick downfield by the Russian keeper. Helped back by Zama to Kupka. Reuter slides it in to Hessler. And Miles. Back to Eilts. I don't think scoring goals is his strong point. He's the real workhorse in midfield, but a tremendously gifted player at that. Voted, in fact, the best player in his particular position in the German league last season.
He's the one that lets the so-called good players play. The Mollers, the Hesslers, the Sammers. He's the insurance man for them.
Dimov. Kolivanov. That's it. Two to his left. This is Kaklov. And now Radimov. Clearance by Reuter. An excellent one. Hessler. Muller takes over. Good tackle there by Kanchelskis to win possession for Russia. Mostovoy. And still, he's done well here. Mostovoy. Unlucky. Good block by Zamado. Now Simbala. that this Russian team is packed with talented players, Ron.
Yes, and the most talented looks as if he may have a problem. You so rightly said how well Kanchelskis have made that challenge back on Ziegler. It looks as if he may have damaged either his hip or his shoulder there. I know he was very reluctant. Look at him now. He's very reluctant to join in the attack when they've got a very good break on the German back three.
Reuter for Germany as we approach the midway point of the first half here at Old Trafford. It's still 0-0. Muller. Bierhoff spins away. Koptun goes with him. And never hesitates when there's a tackle to be made. Bierhoff complaining to the linesman, but he's got his free kick anyway. Germany edging ahead in terms of possession, but the Russians have created a goal-scoring opportunity just as good as any Germany have forged so far. Muller's free kick. Miles couldn't play it back in. Tetraza with the clearance. And Germany doing well to win it back so quickly.
I think they've got a tremendous athleticism about them, you know. I mean, I think maybe the side that played in the last World Cup was a little bit of age in it and perhaps not as fit as they maybe ought to have been, but this side looks tremendously strong and compact.
Certainly one of the most experienced squads in the championships in terms of international caps. And a lot of players over or around the 30 mark. Russians with the youngest squad here, incidentally. Elmer to Babel. Reuter finding Hessler. That was a lovely bit of skill by Hessler, who I thought was deliberately obstructed then.
It's not even an argument, Alan. That was a certain free kick for Hessler.
Simbala. In front of Moscovoy. Now Hessler again. Elmer. Eils. And now Muller. Good tackle to win it back. Tetraza. 4 men forward in this Russian attack. Mostovoy was one of them, and he was the man he tried to pick out. Muller. And Reuter ever willing to get forward down that right-hand side. This is Hessler. Eils coming forward, leaving it to Sammer. Sammer on to Klinsmann. Klinsmann with a good layoff. Very good tackle. Nikiforov winning it back for Russia. Simbala. Good ball. Mostovoy. Good defending from Helmer. Now Simbala. Tetraza. Radimov. Leaves it to Anopko. We haven't seen much of him yet.
In fact, we've seen very little of him or Nikurov.
Anopko is one of the most important players in the Russian side. The only man, in fact, who played in every single qualifying game for them, and this is his 47th international today. But he's been quiet up to now, and as Ron says, Nikiforov as well, not really coming into the picture yet. 20 minutes of the first half remaining, a little under. 0-0. Muller for Germany. A brilliant run again by Reuter, but he couldn't quite pick him out. Reuter tried to get between Anopko and the keeper. Tetraza now. Determined little player. A determined run, wins a throw-in for his side. Plays for the new champions of Russia, Vladimir Kavkaz, who played against Liverpool in Europe last season. In fact, he's captain Tetradze. And he has possession again. Onopko. Nikiforov. Build-up play by the Russians, but can they produce something incisive at the end of it here? Kaklov going forward. Mostovoy's layoff to Simbala. Olivanov. And the final control not up to scratch, and Germany get the goal kick.
Most of the threats have come from the Russian left-hand side, mainly through Simbala linking up with Olivanov. We haven't yet seen one dashing run, and we see it week in and week out from Andrei Kanchelskis. Now, whether that's due to the fact that the Germans have done the homework and said, hey, we're not going to let the ball come out to this side. Certainly Christian Ziege has hardly left his side when the Russians have got possession. In fact, he's playing, as I said earlier on, you know, he's playing more as a defensive midfield player at the moment.
After a very eventful opening, the game has settled into a chess-like pattern now as Eilts goes forward for Germany and finds Müller. And it goes towards Bierhoff, and now Klinsmann! He must have felt his first goal of these championships was on the way then, so must he.
Oh, you'd have put money on it, wouldn't you? As soon as the ball dropped down to him on the outside of his left foot, I thought, 1-0. Bierhoff makes a little bit of a scramble. Just there, you think, yeah, he's going to hit it. Tries to take it one more, and they force the Russian defenders an uphill, force him wide. But that was for an instant an excellent chance for a player like Klinsmann. There, he's let it go one.
36 goals in 85 internationals before today, Jürgen Klinsmann. Poor clearance there by Ziege.
The great strength about him is that he won't be disappointed with that, because he'll be looking for the next one now.
Mostovoy setting it up meanwhile for Tetradze. Good interception by Babel. Zama. Klinsmann does well to win it back, but the boot was raised high. Free kick against it. Foul on Tetradze. The Russians have taken it already. Onopko. Vladimov. Now Nikiforov. Tetradze runs into trouble. Bierhoff dispossesses it. This is Zama. And again, Zama sees the gap and instinctively moves forward with pace. Challenged from behind by Onopko, and it's a yellow card for him. And he too now must miss the next game for Russia. Well, we predicted it early on, but the flurry of yellow cards in the opening matches are going to have a serious effect on the later stages of these championships. Hessler's free kick looks too close to the keeper and was.
I cannot believe the delivery I've seen in this tournament. I've seen some good play, some good open play, but the delivery on free kicks in set situations has been awful. I mean, you're talking about world greats, Hassler. Ziege from the other side.
Louis St John's got a theory that the actual footballs themselves are made of some kind of substance that doesn't help them in flight. Hessler trying to get forward. Nikiforov denies him, and little Hessler really determined he was going to have that one.
Nothing to do with the rarefied air or anything, is it?
Well, high altitude of Old Trafford, you think? Little Hessler feeling the altitude then because he got a smack in the face. Actually, his altitude is pretty low. 5'5" he is. Very, very good little player. Out of the field, injured at the moment. Müller. Sloppy layoff by Bierhoff. And he then brought down Mostovoy in his attempt to win it back and a yellow card.
Alan, that is scandalous. I'll bet he's nearly got a foot on the ball there, Bierhoff. I mean, I thought Anopko may have been a bit unlucky, but I think Beirut is definitely unlucky. He's actually got a foot on the ball. He has actually played that pass.
Well, I think referees, and in particular UEFA, have gone too far. We all agree that a clampdown was needed a couple of years ago. It improved the game in the last World Cup and the European Championships before that. But it's time to call a halt now, bring a bit of sanity and common sense back to refereeing standards. There have been far too many cautions and unnecessary sendings off already in these championships. The public pay to see great players, and they're going to be denied that opportunity if we continue to attract yellow and red cards at the rate we've seen so far.
I think what's got to happen, somebody's got to recognise the fact between intent and whether you're just making a genuine attempt for the ball. And there's no way in the world can Oliver Beirut be booked for that. Well, he has been booked, so there is a way. But once again, he's a player now on sudden death. He's only going to make one rash challenge now, and he's off. And that's the thin line, isn't it?
Heaven knows how a few of the villains of European football in years gone by would have coped with modern refereeing standards. Remember that Gentile, the fullback for Italy?
I was sat next to him at the game the other night at Anfield.
And he kicked you.
I bet he was looking at it, thinking, yeah.
Hessler in possession for the Germans. Zammer. Eilts. Hessler's got a bit of space to go into. But just as quickly it was closed down by Kaklov. The ball swept out to Babel. And Reuter makes another of those forward runs down the right. Couldn't get the ball onto his favoured foot for the cross. Babel still in support. And back it goes to Zammer. Well, Kovtun. Be fortunate to get away with that charge in the back, I thought. And Chelskis is offside, and possibly Galavanov was as well. And after a very promising opening, Ron, it's gone into a little sort of soporific period here, hasn't it? Not much happening.
If I knew what that meant, I'd agree with you.
If you find out, let me know, because I read it in the papers and it sounded good. Here's Klinsmann. Oh, lovely little back heeler by him, and it comes here to Muller. Klinsmann on the far post. Muller tried the shot instead.
Yeah, he's been a lot quieter, Andreas Muller. He's been a lot quieter than he was in the first game, apart from that time he appeared early on for the header. But, it's a decent effort, cutting in, strong right foot.
Russia have it back now with Simbalar. Good tackle by Eilts. And Hessler comes forward for the Germans. Klinsmann and Bierhoff in a good position, and Muller going forward, and he delivered the wrong ball. Surprisingly.
Well, he delivered the right ball, but he delivered it badly, didn't he? I mean, you would have bet your life on Thomas Hessler. Plenty of space, great run from Andreas Muller coming up alongside. Go on, just put it in my path, Muller's saying, and I'll have a little pop at goal. And he's overhit. He's just going to stroke it past the last man with Muller running on. Much too heavy.
10 minutes to half-time. Russia 0, Germany 0 in this Group C game. We have a situation in this group where a host of teams could be level on points going into the final matches. This was always reckoned to be one of the closest groups, and it's proving to be that way, particularly after the Czech Republic's victory over Italy. Here's Muller for Germany. They've got 3 points in the bag already, of course. Russia have not.
So we're going to say a point to Germany is not a disaster for them, is it? And they'll be aware of that. They know how to play tournaments. They're always a very positive side, always trying to win the game, but they'll know at least if they'll take a draw if it's necessary. I think you may find, if the game stayed like this to the middle of the second half, I think you may find Nikorov and Nopko joining in and pushing forward a lot more.
Another tackle there by Kovtun that was from behind, and the referee is taking a very lenient view on him, strangely enough, at the moment. Was that any worse than the one Bierhoff himself got cautioned for?
No, but I think he's made contact with the ball again. Well, he has. He's given a throw.
The tackle from behind is, of course, outlawed, sadly. I say sadly in the sense that
it is if you don't get the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the ball. He's been clean. He's got just in front of Bierhoff, actually. But when you mark that tight, you are always running the risk that you may knock somebody down.
Germany build again with Müller. The game desperately needs some life bringing back into it at the moment. It's intriguing without being exciting. Hessler. And another foul by Cogtoon on the totting up process. He's going to be in trouble soon, if nothing else.
What did he get done for originally? It was encroachment, wasn't it? Seemed as if he encroached the free kick after he conceded one.
8 minutes to half-time. Is this the moment when Germany achieve the breakthrough, I wonder? Hessler with the free kick. Easily cleared by Nikiforov. This is Eilts, and now Zammer. You can hit the ball if they back away. Well, the Germans have been nowhere near as impressive as in the first half of their opening game, that's for sure. And Kanchelskis hasn't seen much of the ball for Russia. Where's he going to go now? Every route cut off at the moment. Come back well by Zammer. Here's Müller. Klinsmann in a good position, and he's found him. Klinsmann pulls away from Nikiforov. Only Bierhoff in the centre at the moment. And well as he climbed, he couldn't win it. Took back the helmet to shoot, and the deflection just took it away from immediate danger. The Germans stepping up the pace. Zammer. Well, that was a good interception. However, Germany have been beaten in the challenge again, and Russia have got a real counter-attack on here. They've got a lot of men forward, and one of them is Kaklov, and Kaklov finds Mostovoy, and Mostovoy denied by the goalkeeper. And then when the ball spun loose, they couldn't make the most of their best opening so far. Kupka doing really well.
That's a great break. Well overloaded. Kaklov puts it right into Mostovoy's run. His first touch is awful. His first touch should really... Kolovanov, acute angle, no blame attached to him. But Mostovoy really should have buried that one.
So for all the German possession, we have seen how dangerous Russia can be on the counter-attack. Müller chips one forward. Anopko with the clearance. Elmer wins it back, but he's given it away again. And Chelski's in a good position here, but Kaklov couldn't find him. Or Radimov, I should say. Here's Kupka. Hovtun beaten in the air by Klinsmann. But Anopko did a good job at the back for Russia.
Take your point, Alan, by the way, about Kupka. He did save his side as the last man. But surely Mostovoy should have been far more convincing with that opportunity, shouldn't he?
Yes, it looked from here.
I mean, Kaklov had rolled it right into his run. He hadn't anything to do.
There's Radimov. The Germans not looking as efficient at the back as we expect. A little rattled at times.
I think the other thing that probably happened there, they've been so long before they'd done any defending, that probably they were just sleeping in a little bit. Sammer had got caught adrift high up the field. Mostovoy,
who plays for Strasbourg in the French league, presented with probably the best chance of the game so far. Ziga for Germany. Hessler. Rolls it forward for Bierhoff. Poor cross by him, though. There's little Simbalar. Tratza plays it back to him. Oh, that's a great ball. Kanchelskis. Polivanov up in support. Kanchelskis will go all the way, perhaps. Disappointing end to what had looked a promising move.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him go in field particularly, well, we've certainly seen him go in field in the Premiership and know that he's more than adept at finishing off his left side. I think they've pushed him very square there. Got a little bubble just before he hit it. I mean, that's the first time really that Ziegel's gone missing it against him. I'm still not sure, by the way, that Kanchelskis is entirely happy fitness-wise. Every so often he seems to be holding his right shoulder well in against it, as if he's suffering with it.
If there is a problem, they've got little Kyriakov, who came on and had a very effective game as a substitute in the second half against Italy. Here's Müller for Germany. Tremendous run by Klinsmann to get ahead of him as well. Slides it into Bierhoff. Now Klinsmann picks out Hessler with a lovely ball. Bierhoff and Klinsmann far post. Oh dear, you would not have expected that of a top-class player like Hessler.
No, it's a poor cross, but I tell you the problem he's got there is there's two white shirts in there, and the Russians do get a lot of bodies back in the box. They do defend in numbers. There wasn't an awful lot of space to thread anything through. You're right, it wasn't the best ball. You would have expected a far better ball from him.
Tetradze coming forward for Russia. Vadimov. Polivanov. Simbala. Polivanov again, lovely 1-2. But the challenge, I think, from Helmer was just enough to stop Polivanov getting in a shot. And Simbala's early shot against the foot of the post, plus that miss by Mostovoy, suggesting that the Russians in this game are just as likely to open the scoring as the Germans. Here's Klinsmann. And he's around, of course. There's always a threat to the opposition. Ziege. Well played, Hessler. Tetradze takes it from him. He's going to test out Kanchelskis' injured shoulder.
Certainly wasn't shown wanting there, was he, Kanchelskis?
No, he didn't duck out of that one at all. Vadimov now for Russia. Mostovoy to his right. That's a foul.
But that's what I'm saying now. The attack is now, what, 40? The attack was 40 or 50 yards away from Andrei Kanchelskis, and he made no attempt to join back in. Now, we've seen him when he pops it off there. He sprints, doesn't he? He's as quick as anything in the Premiership.
Here's a Nopko for Russia as we move into the final minute of the half. Challenged by Sammer, and he gets the free kick. Kaklov following him. Your verdict on the half so far, Ron?
You said a word earlier, started very, very hot and pacey. Then it's become intriguing, like a little bit of game of chess football, if you like. I think the Germans are the best side I've seen, apart from one thing. I'm not too sure whether they're going to get a partner for Klinsmann. They'll need Klinsmann to play very, very well. Bierhoff, to me, hasn't looked a typical German player, a good enough player to play amongst the others in there. Not to say he's a bad player, but on the other side, the Russians, they've been very, very effective coming forward.
And that's it. We have reached the interval at Old Trafford without a goal. Mostovoy will curse himself for missing one golden opportunity. Zimbala almost opened the account with a shot against the foot of the post. The Germans have looked fleetingly dangerous, but no more than that. And the half-time score, I think, adequately reflects the half. Russia 0, Germany 0. It's Russia, in fact, who've made a change during the half-time interval. Radimov coming on to be replaced by Valery Karpin. And he's more of an attacking player. Radimov, an out-and-out midfielder. Karpin, who played in a forward role against Italy in the first game, plays in Spain. In fact, he's just moved to Valencia for £5 million from Real Sociedad. He's on, Radimov off. But Bierhoff still out there for Germany, who didn't make any changes during the interval. What do you make of that then, Ron?
Well, I was surprised to see Karpin not in the side at the start. I'm a little bit surprised to see the position he's occupying here, wide on the left.
Mostovoy going forward immediately. The interception was by Helmer to stop Kanchelskis.
And I think unless Tetrezzi moves over and fills in the right-hand side, I think it looks as if there's going to be a greater onus on Kanchelskis to fill in that right-hand midfield position.
Germany come forward with Ziege. Yet another ball that never had a hope of finding its intended target. Here's Kanchelskis. Tetrezzi. Back to Nikiforov. Notko alongside him. The Russians, who won the European Championships back in 1960 as the Soviet Union and had 3 times been losing finalists. Germany have been in 4 of the last 6 European Championship finals. Incredible record. Kessler going forward for them, finds Bierhoff, who must be on borrowed time, I would think, in terms of making an impact in this game. Oliver Bierhoff has been disappointing as Klinsmann's partner so far, and there are a number of options who could take his place on the bench.
Yeah, but I think it should be said about Bierhoff. He's one of those. I described him as maybe an English-type centre-forward. He's better at sort of in-box plays. He's got about 17 goals last year for Udinese, and the majority, all right, he scored a few penalties, but the majority, you know, have been from close in, 6-yard boxes, head-ins, tap-ins and things like that. Now, the Germans, when they're at the best, play with a great mobility, great fluidity up front. And I think that's where he's having a problem. He's being asked to sort of, if you like, balance off Klinsmann and make runs in timing with him. Now, to be fair, nobody's really done that since Vola finished.
Russia come forward with Tetrezzi, now Kovtun. Nice return ball there from Karpin, despite the challenge on him by Reuter. Heiltz making sure that Russia went no further.
Yeah, the surprising thing from the Russians' point of view, the central defender that's come forward most has been the man I would have said was the mark of Kovtun.
Simbala. Sorry, Ron. Come back to that anyway, because Russia have got a free kick here.
And we must be due a good one. No, I was just thinking, I would have thought we'd be seeing Notko and Nikiforov pushing forward a lot more this half. And Kovtun, the one that just stays at the back and sees Klinsmann out.
Well, we have been longing for a spectacular free kick goal in these championships. Has the moment arrived, I wonder?
I think I've only seen Gary McAllister get one on target. One with a curl and one with a full drive.
Nikiforov is a player who possesses a tremendous shot, the number 3. They might set it up for him. They have a number of options here, though, as the German wall retreats the full distance. Mostovoy takes it, and that wasn't very far off. Good effort.
Yeah, that's possibly as good as I've seen in terms of trying to bend one round a wall.
Bit impressive, Mostovoy today. Top scorer for his club last season, Strasbourg, with 10 goals from midfield. He's played for Benfica as well. Zama with the clearance. Bierhoff gives it away again. Haklov to Nikiforov, now Karpin. And Karpin beaten in the tackle by Hessler. Nikiforov made sure that there was no further danger. Now then, Mostovoy. Surely he's offside, yes. Seen in slow motion that particular incident. The flag finally raised, free kick to Germany. Zama. frustrated with each other then.
They're coming out on the one side, attacking-wise. They keep coming out on this right-hand side, and I think that's one of the reasons why this guy's been put out here. Carpin. That is a searching ball.
Tempting cross, no one on the end of it though. At least not in a red shirt. A good little spell for Russia. Tetradze, nice ball. Carpin. Ostovoy on the far post. Kanchelskis beyond him. It's a good tackle though. Alps making sure that the cross never came in. Tetradze. Carpin. Tetradze again. Kovtun struggled to keep that one. And Nikiforov. And the 1-2 is broken down, and it's Germany for once looking dangerous on the counter-attack. Bierhoff's in a great position here. Oh dear.
Stumbled the ball, Alan. He got excited, he had options each side of him, and I think the option he was going to take was to slide Bierhoff in, Oliver Bierhoff on the right-hand side, and he just caught the end of his toe while he was running with it.
Ziege so frustrated. Klinsmann to one side, and as Ron says, Bierhoff to the other. Bertie folks can only look on with the frustration of any ex-player who thinks what he might have done in that situation. Capped 96 times for his country, incidentally, Bertie folks, and the first man ever to figure in these championships, both as a player and as a coach. Elmer. Ziege back to Zama. Pavel. Bierhoff couldn't find Klinsmann. Nikiforov's clearance. Like a little nudge there by Babel. No, it's gone the other way. What a curious decision that was.
I think the referee could be the only one that could explain that decision. It was a definite barge in the back from Babel.
The foul against Polivanov. Here's Muller. Klinsmann dropping deep and finding Iltz. Bierhoff the target, far post here. Hessler was in behind him. The Russians deal with it well though. Elmer won't let Kanchelskis turn, but he found the room anyway. Tetradze. It's a good ball now. They've got 4 in this attack here, the Russian. Ostovoy in a good position in the middle. Karpin in possession. Kanchelskis on the right. Took a very good tackle to stop him from Iltz. But Russia win possession again. Tetradze slipped at the vital moment.
He's out of sorts, I think, Andrei Kanchelskis. I think he's, without a shadow of doubt, the best right-sided player, certainly in the Premiership. I know what I said before this tournament started in this, but he doesn't look at all like the Andrei Kanchelskis we've seen over the last few years. He looks well out of sorts to me.
Mostovoy for Russia trying to tempt Babel into the challenge. Simbolo with a lovely return ball to Mostovoy. Promising move. But now Germany counter-attack with Muller. Klinsmann and Bierhoff ahead of him. This is Klinsmann. Tried to lay it back to Muller. He's got it again though, Klinsmann, and he's got a corner. The only German player, incidentally, who figured in every one of the qualifying games for this competition and was top scorer with 9 goals. Klinsmann and Bierhoff on the far post here. Babel and Helmer, the central defenders, coming up as well. So too is Ziege, number 17. Plenty of aerial power for the Germans here. Klinsmann meets it, but it was the Russian defender who just glanced it away from him. Another corner. Hessler will take the kick. And again, the Russians supreme. Kovtun getting it away this time. Polivanov. Tetradze linking again with Simbala. Ziege. Klinsmann with typical determination, not letting the defender have an easy ride here. And it was Klinsmann's presence, really, that worked that throw-in for his side when nothing had seemed on.
I would couple him with Ian Rush in that respect. Great players that never stop working and pressurising defenders, that aren't just content with scoring goals.
Ziga to Zama. And everyone apart from the German keeper Kupka is inside the Russian half now. Muller. Tremendous run forward by Zama! And still, it's a goal! Germany take the lead. Zama the scorer. Wonderful run from the back by Matthias Zama, and Germany in front.
As you so rightly said, a magnificent split run from the back. Goalkeeper fumbles the first one. There's a little bit of a scramble. Perhaps doesn't get a second reaction quite as much. But Muller's picked him out. Muller's picked him out right through the gap. He's emerged from a position that's hard to stop. And actually, that's a goal that's probably come slightly against the run of play. But it's something with their mobility and their all-round play the Germans can always produce. I mean, the ironic thing is that's normally the sort of run that Muller's making himself.
Well, Russia in a serious situation now. Beaten in their opening game by Italy. A goal behind here. Defeat today wouldn't automatically cancel out their chances of reaching the quarter-finals, but it would leave them with a mathematical equation of horrendous proportions. They'd have to score a lot of goals in their last game and hope for results elsewhere. So defeat today effectively would put the Russians out, we would think. And victory today, though again not 100% certain, would effectively mean Germany go through to the quarter-finals. That's how much they're playing for here now. And the first goal in these championships has so often proved the vital one.
What a tremendous thing to have somebody at the back, though, that can make that sort of run and play when he gets up there. I mean, he's basically a quality midfield player playing as the last man.
Nopko wins it back for Russia, who have got to now obviously cast aside any caution they might have been operating on.
It's the sort of thing the guy on the ball does an awful lot, you know, Nikiforov. And yet he stayed very rigid at the back as the sweeper.
Yes, to my disappointment, I had him 50-1 to get the first goal today. Never been near a shot.
Alan, I'll give you 200 to 1 if you didn't get the first goal.
First goal scored by Zama. And Germany looking again at victory here, but still a long way to go in this half. And the Russians have done enough today to suggest they can get a goal themselves. Kanchelskis coming forward. Zimbalar trying to get on the end of his little through ball. It's gone out though, goal kick. Matthias Zama, who, as I mentioned earlier, was the first from the old East Germany to play for the new unified team. On target with that one, and more importantly with that one. Sorry, Ron.
I was just going to say, what a spotter's badge, though, there from Andreas Muller.
Zama has now given it away to Mostovoy. The ball, Karpin. Reuter trying to hold him off, but Karpin keeps possession, and a good little ball into Mostovoy. Now Kolivanov set up almost for a shot from Karpin. Russia still have possession. Foul on Zimbalar, was it? No. Well, that's a controversial decision. The referee waving play on. More in possession. Took so long to make up his mind. The Russians came back and nicked it off him. Well played, Zimbalar, who must have been running on anger then because he felt he'd been fouled in the build-up. Now Kolivanov for the chance. Good defending by Reuter. And now we're getting a game.
Well, since the advent of Karpin, I mean, Reuters had to do that. He's had to defend, whereas he spent virtually the first half bombing up and down the right-hand side. This half, he's barely been across the halfway line. Been forced into things like defending there, like that timely tackle he's just made.
Helmer, the German player, down injured, and they've called for the stretcher. Not always as alarming as it seems, of course. It's now part of the rules to try and speed things up. The official attendance incidentally today, 50,760 here at Old Trafford. Tremendous gate. And a tremendous scene from our blimp, which has possibly the best view of all, if you can stand the heights. In fact, the back row of the new Old Trafford stands almost as high as that. Helmer is limping off at the moment, and with all the problems Germany have in the central defensive positions, Kohler back home, Babel suspended from the next game, the last thing they want to see is Helmer limping off. He's reached the touchline, so play can restart with Simbalar taking the corner. Koptun got up well, so did Anokko just ahead of him, but it's a goal kick. And a bit of understandable concern down on the touchline for the Germans now as Helmer receives treatment. Helmer, another of the Bayern Munich contingent in the German squad, winning his 50th cap, in fact, today. And Germany at the moment down to 10 men, but leading 1-0. And Chelskis, how they need him to find the form we know he's capable of. Zimbala, the ball back to Kaklov. Germany have it back with Hessler. This looks an interesting break by Müller. Klinsmann and Bierhoff in front of him at the moment. Didn't quite produce the magic ball that led to the goal. Kolivanov, Karpin. That's a good return ball, but that's offside against Kolivanov. Helmer now down on the touchline, seems ready to come back on. And as you're watching this replay, is back on.
This might be closer than you think, you know. Just about. He looked well off at the end, but my initial reaction was that he's only just if he was offside.
Helmer back on the field meanwhile. 63 minutes completed, Russia 0, Germany 1. Klinsmann trying to lose Anokko. Nikiforov swept up well to Tratza. Kanchelskis. Van Hoddle said he wanted to see him operating in a wider role. He comes right infield then to find Kolivanov. And the ball given away between him and Koptun. Karpin as well acknowledges his error.
Just watching Thomas Struens for Germany having a very strenuous warm-up. I wonder whether it's a tactic they've used in the past, whether they're going to bring him on, put him out into midfield and then just leave Klinsmann up the field on his own. Well, maybe push Moller into a more advanced position.
Looks like the first substitution, though, is going to be made by the Russians. Simutenkov waiting to come on. There's Babel for Germany. They lead 1-0. Reuter. Ball by Eilts. Nikiforov almost threaded one through the centre of the German defence. Helmer. Klinsmann. Anokko sticking tight, but he's lost him momentarily, and that's a good ball for Hessler. Well, the defender, as he was then, Karpin, did an important job in getting across Hessler's run. Otherwise, he would have had a shot on goal. Simutenkov ready to come on now for Russia when the referee's seen him. And the Germans also are going to make a change.
almost a carbon copy of the goal, isn't it? A little diagonal run across. Klinsmann turns back in field, plays a right-footed ball through a space for a midfield runner onto it.
The corner won't be taken, I don't think anyway, until the changes have been made here. And again, we get a bit of confusion with the new electric scoreboard. It's Kaklov coming off for Russia. Sinyutenkov will take his place. Make their substitution, the Germans, even though Freund was ready to come on. Corner whipped in, and the header by Bierhoff over the bar. And now, presumably, Germany will make their change. It's Hessler, who's about to be replaced by Stefan Freund. Hessler has had a disappointing game by his high standards. Makes way for Stefan Freund, who was suspended for the opening game against the Czech Republic. Another player like the goal scorer Zammer, who began his career in East Germany as it was then, and who in the last 2 years has won 2 league championship medals with his new club, Borussia Dortmund. Koptun finds Karpin. Both sides having made a change now. 67 minutes completed. Germany still leading 1-0. Tetradze. And again. Koptun. Karpin. Simbalar. Defending by Germany. Anopko, however, has made a mistake against Klinsmann, and that usually proves costly. Bierhoff and the new substitute Freund are in support here, and also making a run from the back, and indeed in the end committing a foul on Simbalar was the goal scorer Zammer. Simbalar. Karpin. Nikiforov hasn't had the chance to stray into opposition territory too often today.
I think he's got to start gambling a little bit now. He's got to start stepping into play in the top half of the field more.
Well, if he can get the line of a shot, he will not disappoint. Here's Karpin. Tetradze doing well as they backed off. Simbalar making the goal-bound effort in the end, but the Germans quite comfortable defending there. And Tetradze it was who got it forward. And here he is again.
He's been as good a player as they've had, actually, the little number 2 to
And he's making a great run into the penalty area here, taking defenders away, and Kolivanov missed his control.
Oh, if he'd have been on his toes there, he was looking in on goal. And look at this, we've got 3v3.
Huge gaps opening up now, and Germany trying to exploit them with Müller. Right. Well, the pace of that attack suddenly is slowed to a crawl again, and they're back in their own half. A little bit of caution, perhaps, from Germany.
But they don't have to force the game too much, do they? You know, they're in pole position. They win this, they're absolutely through, aren't they? I mean, even a draw virtually takes them through, I would guess.
Now that Freund has lost his man. Klinsmann peels away, and he played it just a little bit too firmly into his feet, behind him, in fact, in the end. Simbalar. Zammer. There's another one who's done really well today, Simbalar. gets it again. The substitute, Simutenkov, gets his first touch now. Zimbala, a Nopko. And Chelskis with the layoff. Koptun. Simutenkov. Great challenge by Iltz, and then the challenge on him by Koptun wasn't a good challenge at all. And it's a red card. And the man with the worst disciplinary record in Russian football lives up to his reputation, I'm afraid, with a red card for that really wild tackle here on Iltz.
The unfortunate thing is he's been sent off really for the earlier foul, hasn't he? Which was quite needless. Or the earlier booking, but that, I mean, that's they shall not go past at any sort of stretch of the imagination.
Just a reminder, if you weren't watching in the first half, of his quite appalling record: 5 red cards and 28 cautions in 4 seasons in the Russian league, and Romantsev obviously knew all about that when he picked him, so I can't think that he's exactly shocked, but it was a silly, needless, wild challenge that got what it deserved, a red card. And Iltz is another man who doesn't hold back from tackles. Someone said about him he'd tackle a pigeon if it walked across the pitch. Is being stretched off as Koptun has the long walk back to the dressing room. Well, he'll know what it's like getting in the dressing room before anybody else. It's happened to him often enough. Perhaps he likes to be first in the bar, I don't know. Kanchelskis looking for Karpin. On to Zimbala. And Russia's hopes crumbling by the minute now. 1 goal behind, 1 player down on their opponents. Iltz still receiving treatment for Germany, so it's actually 10 v 10 at the moment. There's Simutenkov. Good ball for Mostovoy. The Germans close the door with a mighty slam when danger threatened then, and suddenly on the counter-attack they have acres of room and lots of men over by the looks of it. Ziger in possession. 4-5 German players forward here. Down on the touchline, Dieter Iltz, the Werder Bremen player. He's been with them for 12 years, in fact. Goes back on. Boos from the Russian fans. If they're suggesting for one moment that he was play acting to get an opponent sent off, then they haven't seen the pictures we've seen. No way. Russia surely have to pick up the pace of things here now. And as Ron Atkinson has been saying, start to gamble, take a few risks, otherwise their championships could be coming to a premature end. Zimbala, one man who has got the genius, certainly, to bring them back into it, but caught in possession this time. Coming forward for Germany again. They've got a load of players in this attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 German players in and around the penalty area. Reuter in possession. Slips it into Klinsmann. Left to Muller, he can hit them from here. And still Muller. Now Klinsmann. Way off to Freund. That's a corner. And also Nikiforov will need a bit of sympathy here.
Yeah, he'll be feeling sorry for himself as well, won't he? At the stage where he'd probably want to start driving forward and taking a chance. All of a sudden, he's virtually got to play central defender now with the sending off of Koptun.
Muller's corner, hung that one up really high, and danger here! And the shot very close from Bierhoff, although he was close to goal, and you might argue he should have done better.
That's where his best moments have come in the tournament, in a couple of occasions. When he's in range there, very close in. I mean, that's almost like a Klinsmann effort.
Babel, the central defender, coming forward. Notko gets it clear. 15 minutes to go now. Germany leading 1-0. Heitz showing that he's no worse for wear from that earlier tackle by Kovtun. It looks like the German machine rolls on here to an almost certain place in the last 8.
If they do nothing stupid as well, they can afford to get themselves in a position where one or two of them could be rested for the last game, albeit against Italy.
Yes, that's looking at the moment likely to be a more important game for the Italians than the Germans, who are eyes set on 6 points at the moment. But as Spain proved yesterday in the game against the French at Ellen Road, anything can happen in the latter stages. It's a new Tenkov. Simbala. Muller with the interception for Germany. The ball tracked it back to him, but now Tetradze has it. A bit untidy over there, but Russia still in possession. Not for long. Good play there by Ziege. And Germany throwing the ball from one side of the field to the other with some skill now. Bierhoff. Klinsmann. Klinsmann's done brilliantly here. Can he finish it off? How could you doubt it? Jürgen Klinsmann sets the seal on another German victory and becomes the first player ever to score in 3 successive European Championships.
Well, that's worth the admission fee alone, isn't it? Some good link-up by Bierhoff. Bierhoff fields him in, turns brilliantly against Nikiforov, and then he just outside of his right foot, high into the corner of the net. That is a magnificent finish. That'll be a contender. That'll be in with Gascoigne for goal of the competition. Look at this. There he is. Confidence of a top man.
Superb finish for his 37th international goal now in 86 games. Magnificent record. A man who's been a success in 4 different countries in Europe. As Zimbala left it there to Kanchelskis to try and bring Russia back into the game with some hope, but the real star of the show at the moment, Jürgen Klinsmann, for a goal that will surely see his side through to the quarterfinals, effectively anyway. Denied the opportunity to play in the opening game because of cautions received in the qualifying competition, something I think the UEFA should seriously look at changing in future. There should be a ruling whereby all those cautions and dismissals are wiped clean at the start of the finals like this. But Klinsmann has taken 1 game to make an impact. The leader of the pack, as his coach has called him, has underlined his fantastic value to his country. And at the moment, it looks like the only thing that could undo the Germans will be players being either injured or suspended, and there's a fair few of both categories. But they also have an immensely strong squad, in depth. The Russians dispirited now. They know their championship is virtually over. Polivanov wins it back for them though, offside. The moment he set off, Simu Tenkov, who plays in Italy, by the way, for Reggiana, knew, I suspect, he was offside. Klinsmann scoring a contender, one of the goals of the championship so far, as we see it from the other side of the ground.
Look at that, pick it up, turn, see you later, bang.
Brilliant goal.
I mean, when you talk about tournaments like this, about the World Cups and things like that, you look for the exciting moments, don't you? And that is one of them. That is one of the moments of the tournament, that. A great player executing, or showing us all just how great he is.
Reuter for Germany. Here's Klinsmann again. Simbala gets it clear. 10 minutes to go now, and Germany well in control, I would think. Still tackling, still fighting for every ball. And behind the goal into which Klinsmann scored moments ago, huge swathe of German supporters celebrating already. Now then, it looked like handball by
Oh, he's
Sammer.
lucky there, Sammer.
He was.
He's lucky because, you know, it was certainly a free kick, and B, could have been a booking.
Got away with that, the first goal scorer. Elmer. Germany, remember, play Italy on Wednesday night. Whereas the Russians' final game is beginning to look rather academic now.
I mean, I made the point there, you know, about they could afford to coast against Italy. But then again, you know, the German tournament mentality. Let's see this one through. Go on. The German tournament mentality, Alan, is they might very well say, let's see if we can put Italy out because they're a threat. You know, let's have them out early and not have to face them in a final.
There is something about Germany's ability to prepare for major championships that sets them apart from virtually any other country in the world. They never fail, never let you down, always go all the way or near enough anyway. They've just been getting it right for so many years. And maybe Bertie Folks has another team that can win another title. So Mostovoy tries to find Kolovano. Certainly the German coach went on record as saying before the championship started that he felt confident that he had a team who could win the tournament. All four of his predecessors in the job have either won the World Cup or the European Championships or both. That's what you call pressure for a coach. His detractors will point out that Germany under him have won nothing for 6 years. They're expected to win things. They expect it. So Yutenkov for Russia. Just stepped out there as though he was taking the dog for a walk and won the ball back. Müller. It could be a third German goal yet. And they're pushing men forward again. Sammer. Oh, he tried to chip it up for Bierhoff. It would have been offside anyway.
It was Sammer that started the move, broke the Russian move up in his own half of the field. Come forward, and who's the man coming into the picture now? Sammer unselfishly stands it in, but Bierhoff has gone offside. Sammer actually could have taken that one out of his feet and maybe gone in for a shot himself. Yeah,
I thought that's what he was going to do. No wonder he's Bertie Folks' favourite in that position. Lothar Matthäus, who's got 120-odd caps for Germany, was not picked for the squad because Folks is such a fan of Sammer, and you can see why. Reporter on the touchline that Bierhoff, who's in possession here, is about to be replaced as he plays a 1-2 with Klinsmann. He's given it straight back to Mostovoy. Good challenge. And Ziege continues his run. Müller will look to find him on the left and does so with a good ball. Bierhoff in the middle. That might be his last contribution to this game. I wonder what the coach would have done if he'd stuck that one in the back of the net, which possibly he ought to have done wrong.
Not possibly, he should have done. I felt sorry for him there. He's looked the odd man out in the team, the ugly duckling, if you like. And as you say, he's now on his way. And that, you don't know how much that could have done for him. That could have given him such a lift.
Bierhoff makes way then for Stefan Kuntz, who plays for Besiktas in Turkey. Began the match against the Czech Republic. Now then, see Yutenkov. Russians going through the motions rather with 5 minutes to go, but knows what a goal might do for them late on here, but I can't see now Germany letting this one go. Foul there by the newcomer Kuntz on Notko. Germany, remember, runners-up when the championships were held 4 years ago in Sweden, the surprise champions Denmark. And with a record that cannot be matched by any other team in this competition. Points for them. Foul by Onopko. Here's Kuntz again. Oh, that was a bold effort. He just saw perhaps Karin slightly out of position, and it was worth a try. Germans have another substitute to bring on. Thomas Strunz of Bayern Munich will replace Müller, who's had a good game and produced that glorious ball that led to Zammer scoring the all-important first goal. Strunz on for Müller then. And the Germans coasting.
Yeah, from a game point of view, I mean, it was glorious to see that goal at Klinsmann's, but certainly the two turning points were the sending off and that second goal, because at the time Russia were well in the game, weren't they?
That's true. Now then, throwing, trying to set one up for Kuntz, who's done well here. Kuntz, ball taken off him by the other newcomer, and the cross, I think it was a cross, aimed towards the far post. But Ziege couldn't pick out a teammate.
He's impressed me today, Ziege. I mean, we knew all about his attacking qualities, but he's been detailed to look after Kanchelskis, and most of the game Andrew's been looking after him.
Well, Ivanov for Russia gives the ball away untidily. Waiter. Off by Kuntz. Simbalar has it back, but not for long. Russia claiming the foul there, but Freund goes forward for Germany. Klinsmann peeling away to the far post. He tried to find him. All people thought that the Russians would be one of the top outsiders, if you can call them that, in these championships, but that's not going to be the case now.
I think, doesn't that come down sometimes, though, Alan, to the luck of the draw? I mean, to go in, first two games against Italy and against Germany, that is some task, isn't it? There's other groups they could have gone into and possibly have won.
Yes, what a way to start a tournament. It's like facing Mike Tyson and Cassius Clay in successive bouts. You can't get much more unfortunate than that. Italy, first game, Germany, second. German players almost trying to conserve that energy now as Strunz plays it clumsily straight to Onopko. This is Simbalar for Russia. Karpin. Onopko finding Kanchelskis. What a big disappointment for Kanchelskis, who's been 5 years now in English football. So much wanted to do well in these championships. Simbalar, an excellent little player who'll certainly attract a lot of attention, I think, when the championships are over. Karpin going forward, that's a good run by him. And laid the wrong ball back behind his teammates. Kuntz moves forward as the clock ticks into stoppage time. There's a little ball as well. Klinsmann's in a good position here. Strunz finds him as well. Back it goes to the same player, Spunz, who applauds the delivery from Jurgen Klinsmann. Everyone in this squad looks up to Klinsmann. He's extremely popular with his teammates, and no wonder.
I think you saw there his captaincy coming out as well. A lot of strikers there, you know, would have tried to take the last man and gone in for a goal, but he's trying to set something up for somebody else, and I think that's the maturity, the captaincy coming out in him.
Great success in his 1 year in English football with Tottenham, of course, and huge success in Germany and Italy as well, where he's played. Now then, the Russians got themselves caught there with a man at the back, and Kuntz lays it on, and Klinsmann could have another. He's only played one game. He's joint top scorer in the championships already. Jurgen Klinsmann. And the mess they're on seemed to be that for some reason the keeper was back when the German attack had initially failed.
Yeah, I think he was trying to. He'd either got injured in the previous attack or he's picking himself up, dusting himself down. Because the rest of the Russians thought the German players were well offside. They had the shock when they saw Nikifor up about 30 yards behind them.
That was a strange old goal, that one, because certainly...
I tell you what it was, Alan. It's a goal where your team is demoralised, dispirited, you played in the heat. You haven't had a break all day, and I think the team is feeling sorry for themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
I think it's more of a demoralised situation more than anything else.
Well, now Klinsmann's on a hat-trick here and the ball whipped in towards him as well, and his teammates want a piece of the action too. Kuntz with a header.
Yeah, the Russians want the game to be blown up now. They want full time. They want to go home.
The referee's looking at his watch. The Russians are going to get their wish any moment, but they're going to get a free kick first. On Simba. No, that's it. That is the final whistle. And Jurgen Klinsmann has emulated what Alan Shearer and Hristo Stoichkov and Casiraghi of Italy have done with 2 goals. In his case, in his first appearance in these championships. And they have helped Germany to a 3-0 success here. Zammer scoring the first goal to send them on their way. And if anyone had the slightest doubt that Germany are very much contenders to win this championship, it will be removed by this performance and that scoreline. Russia 0, Germany 3.